See, here's the thing. I don't understand why people are becoming so mean online. And it's been kind of bothering me for the past couple of days. And it was funny because I was trying to blame it on Mercury retrograde, but now I'm like, no, it's just people are just being mean. But it's been happening a lot lately the past couple of days, and it's been kind of being worrisome because it's like, I know for the longest time, people, like, even when the internet was first like started and like social media started to become such a prevalent thing, we knew that times like this were gonna come. But there's something that just feels off-putting about people hiding behind a fake account, people hiding behind faceless accounts, trolls and things like that, just saying whatever they want to say. But then also people that are like blatantly showing themselves and showing who they truly are and how mean they are online. And a prime example of that is, and why I'm bringing this up is because I've been trying to be more of an advocate, as you can tell with my videos and etc. that I've been creating, of being more prominent in talking about our feelings and talking about emotions and talking about our mental health and things like that. And once you start to open up that can of worms and be more vulnerable online, this gives people the excuse and the opportunity to kind of be their most negative self in a way to make themselves feel better and put all of their aggression towards you because you're being vulnerable. And what happened was, I told myself that I would never be on X, Twitter, ever again, unless somebody new owns it. But even when it comes down to that instance, I'm telling myself that I would never want to be on that platform again anymore, regardless, because of the way that I remember things were when I was on there. And now, the instance is that when I was on there like years ago, there was so much drama that would happen between friends and friends cussing out each other's friends, and then relationship issues that were like not stemming from myself but from my friends that would come back and relate to me to put me in the middle of it, and so on and so forth. And it was just becoming way too much. So I told myself that I was going to get off of there. But even before then, I was always having problems with online trolls and more, because on Twitter I did have a decent following. I had about, like, I want to say maybe like 10,000, like 11,000 followers on there. And when you start to get a following on a platform like that, where it's so much negativity and people just saying whatever they want to say, it can become very wild to experience, especially for one's mental health. And there was even a point in time where I was talking about specific subjects, whether it be politics, whether it be specific social constructs, whether it be things that are happening socially online, pop culture and things like that. Whenever I would chime in and talk about these specific things, it always opens up a can of worms. It always brings in people that are not going to understand your viewpoint and not accept you for your opinion, even if that opinion is morally ground. And that's another issue that is another conversation for another day that I can kind of commingle with. This is how there is so many people online that don't have moral grounding. They have these opinions and they use it as an excuse towards society, even though they know morally it's wrong. And that comes down to the differences of us human beings that are on this planet Earth, and how you can take those differences and use them against that other person, because that's just the way that this world is currently set up. And so there was instances where I was having these issues where people were cussing me out, calling me all types of out of my name, harassing me every day, even to the point where specific fandoms that I will not mention right now, because I know how this specific fandom is and how a lot of other fandoms are, but with this specific fandom, I spoke out against this specific person and that these people are fans of, and this was years ago, and that fandom came for me and tried to dox me, report my account, and so on and so forth. And it just shows you how crazy the internet and online scape is nowadays. and how people can use it as a weapon against you, and how there is some evil, mean bullies out there, and that you have to be careful with the things that you partake in and the things that you say. But also you need to be careful in a way where you protect yourself. That's why there is the option to block people. Back when I was growing up on the internet, they didn't even have that option of being able to block or report specific words, specific people, specific accounts, and all that and more. And so that's why it's important to take that cadence and make sure that you are doing your diligence and blocking these trolls, online people. And if it gets too much, just continue to do so, and make sure that you're reporting these things. I know sometimes these apps are terrible at it, but it's the least that you can do to protect yourself and your mental sake. But that's all to say that this instance of something like this happening has happened recently, where I've been catching myself within the past couple of weeks go viral on several different platforms. Whether that be how I just went viral on Instagram with like over 1.5 million views on a video, and I had mostly positive recognition. And that's something that it's sad to say is rare, because there's instances where sometimes going viral is not the best thing for you. And that's something that we creators have to be careful with, because we don't always want to go viral. We don't need content to always go viral. We just need to be able to have a good standard in building our own communities, especially online, and having like-minded people be by your side and understand you and the things that you are creating. And so there was only a sprinkle few of bad comments or like mean people, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I was able to easily delete those comments, block those said people, so on and so forth. But recently, and this is why I mentioned Twitter, because I've been more on Threads recently. I know how we all feel in this world about meta platforms and the way that we feel we're suppressed and things in that of the third. But I always told myself, if I'm going to be a creator, I'm going to post content wherever it is available, as long as I feel it is a safe space. And I have the ability to make sure that I can make it into a safe space with like-minded individuals, which I've never had that issue with Instagram. I had that issue with Twitter. So I didn't think that I would have this problem on Threads. And I don't know if there is an exodus, because I have been hearing constantly of these things about how there is a mass exodus from Twitter, X, whatever you might call it, over to Threads and over to Blue Sky and over to all these new platforms that are trying to replicate the same thing that X is doing. But I felt like I wanted to take Threads into a different avenue and outlet to where I can be my most authentic self in a word format, where I can just talk my mind, talk about things, respond to people and things of that nature. Because when I first got on Threads, the vibes were amazing. But I feel like because of this mass exodus from X over to Threads, there's been a lot of people that are on X and are mean and evil and bullies and nasty spirited that are over on Threads now, that are taking their mass aggressions and pouring it out onto other people, no matter what they talk about and what they say. Because I recently made a post saying that you need to delete the YouTube Studio app off of your phone. And people took that in a way where they thought this can be the most perfect avenue and opportunity to be mean towards me, which is so awkward and kind of weird for people to even think that this is the best chance to do so. What happened was I made that post because I had been seeing constant posts on my Threads feed of people talking about how views, metrics, analytics, and more are affecting their mental health. And so many people don't understand that when you come into this space and you start creating your own content, it does become hard to not have all of these things affect you mentally. Okay, that's where there's therapy. That's where you talk to your friends about it. That's why you talk to other creators about it. I've had so many numerous conversations with other creators who sometimes have this sense of imposter syndrome, no matter what follower count they add, no matter how many views they get, no matter how many times they go viral and things of that nature. I've had people that have 10 times, triple times, whatever it might be, amount of followers than I do, and they still face the same circumstances and things that I experience being a creative in this field. And so I've been telling people that sometimes you can't negate your value to these views and to these followers and things like that. There are people that have more followers than me that aren't making any money. There's some that are making less or have less numbers followers than me, and they're making more than I could ever make in my lifetime. And that's the gist of this content creating thing when you want to start doing it in a way that's an avenue to have you have more income, is that when you start to negate everything and not have your creative side, you know, just be creative, you're gonna get affected by that mentally regardless. And some people handle it a little bit better. And that's what some people were saying on that Threads post. But then others were saying, one, that it was engagement bait. It was not that. I was literally just speaking my mind, and I literally have in my bio that I just speak whatever comes to my mind. A lot of people do that online, and if you do not like that, that's fine, but just keep on scrolling. It's not like I said anything negative of the sort. Correct? Right. Then I had other people that were saying that like, what the F are you talking about? Saying, I had people calling me a sissy for bringing up mental health. I had so many people that were just saying like no, or just being mean in general, just for me saying that you shouldn't have the YouTube Studio app on your phone. Luckily enough, there were a lot of people that were understanding, and they actually get the gist of what I was talking about. And there was multiple times where I responded saying that the YouTube Studio app doesn't need to be on your phone. If you really need to check your analytics that bad and you're a content creator, obviously you probably have a computer or something where you can upload these videos. And a lot of people are saying that you can't upload like shorts and like look at your stuff like not on the YouTube Studio app, but you actually can. If you have the YouTube app in general, which most people have to watch videos, that's where you can upload your YouTube shorts. And if you really need to check your analytics, just check it on your computers that most people have when they do long formatted content as well too. But you can also upload your YouTube shorts via the desktop version, which I was explaining to multiple people, but it was going through one ear and out of the other, which just shows that a lot of people do not take cadence in trying to understand or trying to listen and learn. They just read and react to whatever they see online. Because then on top of that, there were also people saying that, why would I delete the app if I am a YouTuber or I'm doing this, like I need to look at my numbers, when they don't even realize that you literally can just do that on your computer. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to be cautious of knowing that a lot of these people online are either critically online, have not read a book in their life, or are just plain stupid. Unfortunately. Because there were some people that were reacting in a way that just didn't make sense to me. Then they started to take their own passive aggressiveness and push that on me when it wasn't even taking into accordance to what I was even talking about in the first place. Because how do you go from me saying that you need to delete the YouTube Studio app off your phone to now calling me a punk? I'm not gonna say the other words, but there were some crazy comments and responses that I were getting just from that alone. And now this specific post, and I'm not gonna delete it because you can go see it on Threads if you want to, because it's linked in the description box anyways. But that specific post has almost over 140 responses. And half of them are, or a little bit more than half of them are crazy and are bad. And it just makes me wonder why online, even when you come down to the point of talking about something so vulnerable, that people want to use this as their scapegoat to be so mean towards you. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And so what I'm thinking right now in this digital age and space is that even if I do create posts like that, and what I want to reiterate to you that's watching this, who might be dealing with all types of crazy comments, dealing with haters, dealing with bullies, dealing with honestly insane people that are hiding behind private screens online, private accounts online, is that you need to create your space in the way that you want it to. And I hate to say this phrase, but when it comes down to your instances, and especially if you know your heart is in the right place and that you know you are doing things that are morally not something that should have this type of prospect and response, is that you need to make sure that your space is a dictatorship. Especially online, dealing with online bullies and hateful freaking people. You block whoever you want to block. You delete comments as much as you need to. you make sure that you make your safe space when it comes to being online, because it's dangerous. We are in a new digital age where it has become dangerous. People are seeking out others to be negative towards, to let their aggressiveness out on you. And that is not okay. It is not healthy. And if you are this type of person, guess what? This space is definitely not for you. And if you are this type of person and you're watching this, you need to get some help, some mental clarity to understand why you feel that is the best way to let your feelings or whatever it might be out, and quit it. Seriously. And so this video is just in telling you that if you feel this specific way, if you are dealing with some of these concurrent issues that I've dealt with since starting my online content career, it's okay to make your space the way that you want it. Delete folks, block folks, report them, whatever you feel is right. And don't let these people deter you from speaking your mind. Your opinion is valid, especially if it's not a bad one, especially if it's not a negative one. I'm always going to be an advocate for mental health, and doing whatever you feel is best is right for you. But worrying about metrics and online numbers does affect your mental health. And I've noticed that ever since I've deleted the YouTube Studio app off of my phone, I've been feeling a bit better about the content that I am creating, no matter how many views that it gets. Because I've taken notice that some days my videos pop off. They have thousands of views. Then some days they only have 30, 40, 50, or whatever it might be. And eventually I'm going to figure out the cadence of how to make sure that I understand what the value is that I bring to get more views, to get more subscribers, and whatever it might be. But I'm not going to let other people deter me and stop me from speaking my mind or being the person that I am. Especially if I try my best to radiate good things and positivity. Because a lot of people like to radiate towards negativity because it's easier. And I've always been the type of person to fight hard for my positivity, because I don't like negativity, and nobody should have negativity in their lives like that anyways. So I'm rooting for you. I hope you're not dealing with this same instance. I hope that you understand that once you begin your online content, or if you're starting to post and you start to see these things start to happen to you, or you have these things happen to you, create your safe space in the way that you want it, and block and forget them folks, because you're better than them at the end of the day. I love y'all. Please feel free to watch another video if you are still here. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.